Hi, my name is Jeremy Jacobs, and I am the CEO of FitnessRepairParts.com. Welcome to our series of training videos on our inventory management system. If this is the first video on our inventory management system that you are watching, I would encourage you to go back to the very first video in the series and begin there. The videos are laid out in a specific order to help you build on a foundation of best practices and how to organize your warehouse space and your parts on the shelf. If you've already watched those, then let's jump in.
Now that we've got all the locations added to the warehouse and all of the shelves barcoded appropriately, it's time to jump into receiving. As you were setting up the locations, you may have noticed a checkbox to select a location as the default receiving location. My recommendation is that at the beginning, you don't check that box. Only one location can be the default receiving location. And what will happen is as you go into the receiving mode, it will by default fill that location as the receiving location if you have a default selected. Since we're going to be receiving a bunch of product that is already sitting on the shelf ready to be received, we don't want that default checkbox marked so that we can receive directly to each shelf. And unless you have a dedicated receiving shelf, you probably long-term don't want that checkbox checked either. Let's jump in.
In this training series, we're going to be using a real-world scenario. This is a service company that is local to us, and I'm going to be helping them get their inventory organized. It's a scenario that I imagine many of you are familiar with. Part numbers written on the side of box, organized by Precor and True, organized by brand. And if you need to find a part, you're likely headed out to these shelves to sort through them and visually look at every handwritten part number to find that part you're looking at, maybe trying to locate it by the size of the box you expect it to be in. We're going to get all this organized so that you know exactly where your inventory is, how many you have on the shelf, or if you have none on the shelf.
Jumping into receiving, you're going to want to hit the receive icon top left on the home screen, or if you're in the menu, you can select receive, and you're going to be presented with a screen to receive product in. Imagine that. You're going to want to start with typing in the manufacturer name. Receiving is probably the one function where you may want to do this from a desktop computer. You may find it easier to do it from a desktop than the mobile device. Most of the other functionality will be done easier from the mobile device, but receiving is one of those things because there's a fair amount of typing that a keyboard might make your job a lot easier. So you're going to want to start typing in the manufacturer name. This is pulling from the list of manufacturers that we have on FitnessRepairParts.com. You can type in other manufacturers that are not listed here. So if you find that we don't have a particular manufacturer and you have the part, you can go ahead and type that manufacturer name in here and it will kind of add it to your system. It won't add it to FitnessRepairParts.com. We are going to pay attention to this over time and potentially begin to add additional manufacturers based on the usage. If we see a lot of inventory being put in under a particular manufacturer that we don't have, we want to make this easy for you, so we're going to add that to the list of manufacturers here. So right now I happen to be standing in front of some True Fitness parts, so I'm going to start with just typing in True, and you can see the drop down narrows as I start typing in, and I can just select True. And then we're going to start with a part number here. Let me pick one out. And you can see as I type this where typing in a part number might be much easier from a desktop keyboard. So once you've typed in that part number, if you're using it from a mobile device and you have your scanner attached, under the location field, you can just scan the location and it'll fill it. Or otherwise you can just type it in. If the part number is not in our system, you can type in the name and the price. If it is in our system, it will pull the name from our system and it will pull the manufacturer's suggested retail price that we have recorded in our system. You are free to overwrite that, so it'll pull that information in for you. You can either accept it or change the price or change the name of the part if you need to. So it pulls in the part. In this case, it didn't actually pull this in. Let me see what this is. Okay. And then we're going to, since this wasn't in the system, I'm going to leave the price at 0 right now because I don't know what it is. I'll have to look at that later, and you can make changes to this later. And then go ahead and receive quantity of 1, and then go ahead and hit receive. When you do so, a barcode will spit out of the printer. Hopefully it's next to you. You can just grab that barcode and slap it on the part. In the setup I have here, the barcode is 30 foot that way, so I need to go get the barcode and come back and put it on this part. Some manufacturers make receiving in our system fairly easy because they actually barcode their parts with the part number. So this is a Life Fitness part. As you know, their part numbers are generally fairly long, and rather than having to type that long part number in, it's something that can be read by the barcode scanner. It reads it. Now I need a location, and I'm going to receive 1 and hit receive, and the barcode spitting out the printer. It's that simple if the parts come in barcoded with the OEM part number. As you're receiving, the system prints 1 barcode per quantity of items you received. So if you received 1, you'll get 1 barcode. If you receive 3, you'll get 3 barcodes that print out of the printer. In some cases, you may find that you need to print additional barcodes. Perhaps you want a label on multiple sides of the box, or one on the inside of the box, or one of the labels just got screwed up in the process. Reprinting barcodes is fairly simple. In the menu, you're going to go to part lookup, and then you can just scan the barcode. You don't have to enter in a manufacturer name. Well, you need to make sure the cursor is in the manufacturer name, but you don't have to start typing it all. Just scan the barcode. Everything will populate, look it up, pull it up immediately, and then in the lower right-hand corner, there's an option to print a barcode. You can type in a number and print 5 additional barcodes, or 1 is the default that's in that field. It also gives you a list of the locations where this part is currently located. Here are a few best practices to take note of when you're receiving your parts. We recommend against putting multiple part numbers in the same box. This can lead to confusion as to which part is actually inside the box. If you are putting multiple part numbers inside the same box, we recommend that the barcodes go directly on the parts so that you can identify the proper part as you pull it out of the box. Otherwise, you might be grabbing the wrong of these 2 part numbers in the box. For items in bags, we recommend labeling each bag with a part number. You can fill a tote like this with multiple part numbers. We know it's extra work, but you may want to consider actually individually bagging. This is what we do with FitnessRepairParts.com. We individually bag these, so there are, 8 of these clips in here with only 1 barcode. This can lead to confusion if someone believes that this is a set or some sort of packaged quantity of 8 instead of sold individually. And so they may grab and sell one of these to the customer when, in this case, I know that these are actually sold individually and not as a set. So packaging them in the quantities that they would be sold to the customer at may be an appropriate move. We understand that that takes extra work, so that's a decision that you'll have to make in-house and decide whether or not it's worth the extra effort to do. Couple things to note about these barcodes. One, the manufacturer part number will be capitalized. We actually don't allow a lot of characters either. random characters, pretty much just letters, numbers, dashes, and I believe periods. And every letter will be uppercased or capitalized upon entry. That makes reading it easier. There should be no confusion about a lowercase l and an I and a 1. The 1 does look distinctly different with the little mark at the top of the 1, and the L will always be an uppercase L. And other similar letters, you may run into some confusion between O and 0, but always expect them to be entered as uppercase, even if you type them as lowercase as you're entering them. The other thing to note is down at the bottom, there's a date printed on every barcode for when it was received. So if you're curious later about how long a part has been on your shelf, the date that it was received in is printed on the bottom of the barcode.
Hey, we're glad that you've chosen to at least experiment with our inventory system and are going to try and get this set up. Thanks for watching this series of training videos. There's going to be an email address at the bottom of the screen. If you need support, technical support on getting this set up, please send us an email and we'll try and help you as best as possible as we get this thing off the ground. We know there's bugs probably and some improvements, and we're working hard to make it as excellent as possible. So please reach out and let us know what we can do better. We want to help all of the service providers in the country get organized with their inventory and be able to serve their customers better. So thanks for watching along.